3 months ago, I found a video buried in the comment section of a Turkish farming forum. Someone had filmed it on a phone, vertically, low resolution, barely a minute long. A Kangal, big male, pale fawn coat, the classic black mask, standing in a field at dusk. And at the tree line, maybe 40 meters out, a wolf. Not a small wolf. A gray wolf, adult, probably 90 to 95 pounds based on the frame. The wolf doesn't move. The Kangal doesn't bark. They just stare at each other for about 20 seconds. Then the wolf turns and walks back into the tree line. The Kangal watches until it's completely gone, then goes back to the flock like the whole thing was an inconvenience. I've watched that clip maybe 15 times, and every time I try to explain exactly what I'm seeing, I realize I can't. Not fully. Because what happened there wasn't really a fight, and it wasn't really a standoff in any simple sense. It was something older. Two animals who both knew the rules, and one of them decided the math didn't work. That's the real Kangal versus wolf conversation, not bite force, not weight comparison, not who would win in a fight. That question misses everything interesting about how these two animals actually interact in the real world. So let me tell you what's actually going on. The gray wolf, Canis lupus, is the most widely distributed land predator in the Northern Hemisphere. A mature male in the Turkish highlands runs 80 to 100 pounds on average. In Eastern Europe and parts of Russia you get larger, 110 to 130 pounds not uncommon. The wolf is built for endurance, not brute force. It's a coursing predator. It tests prey, identifies weakness, and then commits. Wolves don't take risks they don't have to take. A wolf that gets seriously injured in a hunt starves. There's no sick leave in the wild. That evolutionary conservatism is important. It's the single most misunderstood thing about wolf behavior. The Kangal, running 90 to 140 pounds in working condition, was developed specifically against the gray wolf threat in central Anatolia. The Sivas region, Kangal district, the breed name isn't arbitrary, it's a geographic origin story. For centuries, shepherds couldn't afford to lose flock. A single wolf kill could represent a family's income for 2 months, so they selected the dogs that worked. Not the biggest dogs, not the loudest dogs, the dogs that actually kept wolves away from sheep consistently over years. What emerged is a dog with a specific behavioral profile that took me a while to understand properly. The Kangal isn't aggressive in the way we typically think of dog aggression. A German Shepherd, a Malinois, those dogs are trained into protection. Their alertness is cultivated, their response sharpened. The Kangal's territorial instinct is ancestral. It doesn't need to be turned on. It's running constantly, even when the dog looks like it's just lying in the sun doing nothing. When a Kangal detects a threat at the perimeter, a wolf in this case, the response isn't panic, it's escalation. The dog will first position itself between the flock and the threat. Then it vocalizes. That bark carries a long way in open terrain. Kangal handlers in Sivas County have described hearing their dogs from over a kilometer away. The wolf hears this too. It knows what that dog is. It's heard that bark before, or its parents have passed down enough wariness through generations of livestock guardian territory to understand what it means. Most encounters end here. The wolf leaves. Not because it's scared of the Kangal in some primal sense, but because the cost-benefit calculation just doesn't work. A healthy sheep is worth something. Getting into a serious fight with a 140-pound purpose-bred dog on its own territory, when you could just move on and find easier prey. That's not a trade most wolves make. But some wolves don't leave. And this is where the one-on-one fight question becomes genuinely complicated, because the answer changes dramatically depending on which wolf we're talking about. A lone wolf, adult male, 90 to 100 pounds, in good health, against a prime Kangal male, 130 pounds, on home territory? My honest read, based on documented encounters and what livestock farmers in Turkey have described, the Kangal probably wins, but wins might mean both animals are significantly hurt. A wolf fighting for its life is not the same animal as a wolf testing prey. The bite force of a gray wolf sits around 400 pounds per square inch. The Kangal runs 700 plus. The Kangal is heavier. The Kangal has the thick dewlap around the throat that exists specifically to protect against wolf bites. That's not an aesthetic feature, it's armor. Shepherds traditionally also fitted their Kangals with spiked iron collars called tasmas to protect the neck further. These are not coincidences. These are adaptations. I talked to a breeder in Afyonkarahisar. He'd been running Kangals for livestock protection for 22 years. He'd had 3 confirmed wolf encounters over that time where he'd watched the whole thing happen. 2 were single wolves, both left after the Kangal postured. 1 was a pair. The Kangals, he ran 2 adults together, fought them. 1 Kangal had a gash on its shoulder and a torn ear afterward. Both wolves retreated. He told me something I keep thinking about. The dog doesn't fight to win. The dog fights until the threat leaves. Those are different things. That reframe matters. We're watching these encounters through a human sports lens. Who dominated, who retreated, who won. The Kangal isn't processing it that way. Mission success is when the wolf is gone. The dog will absorb significant damage to achieve that outcome. That's what the breed was built for. Now, pack scenarios. This is where the honest answer has to shift. A pack of 4 or 5 wolves against a single Kangal is not a fight the Kangal wins. A wolf pack hunting cooperatively with established roles is a fundamentally different challenge than one animal. Wolves coordinate. Some will test from one direction while others flank. Against that, size and individual toughness matter less. This is why shepherds in high wolf density areas don't run 1 Kangal. They run 3 or 4. The dogs work as a unit, positioning between the flock and the threat, presenting a coordinated front that changes the wolf pack's calculation entirely. There's documented evidence from the Katzkar mountain region in northeastern Turkey of a group of 3 Kangals holding off a pack of 8 wolves for over an hour until the shepherd reached the flock. All 3 dogs had injuries. No sheep were lost. That's what the breed actually looks like in operation. Not a single hero dog defeating every threat. A system. The internet version of this matchup treats it like a boxing weight class. Heavier dog beats smaller wolf. But that misses the entire architecture of how Kangals guard, why they guard the way they do, and what a wolf actually brings into these encounters. The wolf is not a dumb brute. It's a highly intelligent social predator that has been avoiding the Kangals' territory in Turkey for centuries of real-world selection pressure. The wolves that consistently got into territory defended by Kangals did not pass their genes forward at the same rate. That's not metaphor. That's actual selection happening over actual time. The Kangal and the wolf have co-evolved around each other. The Kangal's bulk, its neck armor, its territorial persistence, all of that was shaped in part by wolf pressure. And the wolf's tendency to avoid entrenched Kangal territory, rather than push through, was shaped by the consequences of the alternative. Which is why that video bothered me so much when I found it. The wolf doesn't leave because it's outmatched in some obvious, calculable way. It leaves because somewhere in its threat assessment, it processed the presence of that Kangal on that ground and concluded that tonight wasn't the night. There's something in that I can't entirely put into words. 2 ancient things, both shaped by the same landscape, running the same calculation from opposite sides, and one of them, just for this moment, decides to let the other one have it. The Kangal turns back to the flock. The flock never even knew anything happened. That's the job. That's the whole job. And honestly, the fact that we've spent 300 years turning most dogs into pets while this one still does exactly what it was doing in 1700, that's the detail that stays with me longest. Not the bite force number, not who wins the hypothetical fight, just that pale dog standing at the edge of the field, watching the tree line go quiet.